Welcome to Todas Historias. Today's story is about a drunken man who was so addicted but changed his drinking habit and ended up being a pastor. And listen, how he advised others to give their life to Jesus. Once in the town of Summitville, there lived a man named Jack. Jack was known throughout the town as the village drunkard. His addiction to alcohol had consumed him completely. Not a single day went by without Jack stumbling through the streets, causing disturbances and creating a mess of his life. Many saw him as a lost cause, but little did they know, Jack's story was far from over. One fateful evening, Jack found himself sitting on a park bench in the center of town. As usual, he had a bottle of whiskey in his trembling hands. His head hung low with shame, and his clothes were ragged and stained. The people passing by couldn't help but shake their heads in disappointment. As the night grew darker, an old man approached the bench with a warm smile. His name was Samuel, and he had been watching Jack for a long time. Samuel was a pastor at the local church and had seen the devastating effects of addiction on many lives before. He believed that there was still hope for Jack. "Hello, son," Samuel said, his voice filled with genuine concern. "May I sit with you for a moment?" Jack looked up, surprised by the kind gesture. He nodded, allowing Samuel to join him on the bench. For hours they spoke about life, struggles, and experiences. Samuel listened attentively, never judging Jack for his past mistakes. Instead, he offered him compassion and hope. As the night turned into dawn, Jack felt a sense of clarity he hadn't experienced in a long time. Samuel spoke about the love of Jesus and how it had the power to transform lives. Intrigued, Jack couldn't help but inquire further. "Is it really possible for someone like me to change?" Jack asked, his voice filled with a mix of hope and doubt. Samuel smiled warmly and replied, "With Jesus, all things are possible. He can heal the wounded, lift the burdened, and mend broken hearts. You have the strength within you to overcome your addiction and become a new person." Those words resonated deeply within Jack's soul. He knew that it was time to leave behind his destructive habits and embrace a new path. With Samuel's guidance, Jack began attending church and seeking support from the local community. Days turned into weeks, and Jack's transformation became evident to everyone who had known him before. He showed commitment and dedication to his recovery, but most of all, he discovered a love for Jesus that helped him overcome every temptation that came his way. As the months went by, Jack became a beacon of hope in Summitville. He shared his story with honesty and vulnerability, spreading a message of redemption and faith. People were inspired by his transformation and witnessed firsthand the power of Jesus in his life. Driven by his newfound purpose, Jack decided to pursue a calling that he could have never imagined in his previous life. He enrolled in seminary school, seeking to become a pastor himself and dedicate his life to helping others find their way to Jesus. Years passed, and Jack's dream became a reality. He became Pastor Jack, leading a small congregation in Summitville. His weekly sermons were filled with heartfelt stories of his own struggle and eventual triumph over addiction. His empathy and understanding touched the hearts of many, inviting them to give their lives to Jesus and find hope and healing in him. The village drunkard turned pastor had become a symbol of redemption and transformation, not only in Summitville, but in the hearts of all those who heard his message. Jack's journey from addiction to faith showed that nobody was beyond salvation and that with Jesus, true change was possible. And so the once lonely and lost man named Jack had found a new purpose, inspiring others to turn their own lives around. With every word that left his mouth, he reminded them that there is always a path to redemption, forgiveness, and the promise of a new tomorrow.